Hello guys, this is your friend Dark Fox Sage. And we are back with our new fanfic, which is What if Naruto and Shikamaru drop their mask after the graduation exam? Part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic, then subscribe to the channel, it motivates me to upload more fanfics like these for you all. And check the description, there are many things for you guys. Now let's start the fanfic. A small 12-year-old boy was running. No, he was sprinting through a forest in the middle of the night. He had no idea what was going on. Well, no, actually, that was a lie. He knew exactly what was going on. He wasn't stupid. That bastard of a teacher, Mizuki, had tricked him into stealing the scroll of sealing just so he could give to the gay-ass pedophile, Orochimaru. Somewhere in Oto, a pale snake freak sneezed. Geez, Naruto thought. How much longer will I have to wear this damn mask? It's bad enough that all the civilians in this damned village hates me, but I have to act like an idiot on top of that. Plus this frickin' jumpsuit. I mean, what self-respecting shinobi wears kill me orange? This will definitely have to change once I become a ninja. Naruto then thought back to his meeting with the Sandaime a couple hours ago. Flashback. Oi, Gigi, I have something to tell you. Naruto exclaimed, shushing into the room in a great blast of fire. Naruto, how many times do I have to tell you not to do that? The paperwork might get burned, damn it. I hate paperwork. The Sandaime yelled very loudly. The hidden Anbu flinched at their leader's loud voice. Listen, ya old geezer. I failed the last exam just like you wanted. Naruto then adopted his real face, a face of utter calm that betrayed no emotion. Mizuki wants me to seal the scroll of sealing. I think that somehow, Orochimaru is involved. Every major attack in Konoha history in the last 25 years always leads back to him. Anyway, what do you want me to do? The Sandaime Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, looked ill. He was actually starting to look his age. Naruto, he said, take the scroll and see what he wants. You have my permission to show your true strength and your bloodline against him, under the condition that you kill him, of course. The traitor will die regardless of your actions. The Sandaime had asked Naruto to hide his true potential from all of his peers, except for one. In fact, that exception was also a lot like Naruto as well. Naruto's rank mission for the past 5 years was to act as the Dobi, and scope out true potential for the village. Alright Gigi, just give me the scroll and I will leave. Hiruzen tossed him the scroll. Naruto was just about to walk out when Sarutobi said, Naruto, you have my permission to learn a jutsu out of the scroll. It doesn't matter which one, okay? If Naruto was surprised, he didn't show it. Instead, he nodded his understanding. The Anbu in the room were flabbergasted. The Sandaime Hokage, the god of shinobi, was letting a not yet genin learn a jutsu out of the forbidden scroll. Contrary to popular belief, the ninja section of Konoha respected Naruto immensely for being the jailer of the Kyubi no Kitsune. Most of the Anbu in the room were part of Naruto's guard when he was a kid and had to be protected against the attacks of the retarded villagers. It was only some resentful chunins like Mizuki who hated him, besides the civilian section. But still, even if he was the surrogate grandson of the Hokage, to have a child learn out of the scroll was unheard of. Naruto paused as he was about to exit the room. Anko ne-chan, Kakashi ni-chan. Come with me in the forest. I think that there is more to Mizuki than meets the eye. He is not a standard chunin. Naruto left in the same way he came, in a whirl of flames. This left the two Anbu in question, Hubby and Inu, surprised and confused. Not only had Naruto correctly deduced their Anbu identities, he had sensed that they were in the room and he had called them Ne-chan and Ni-chan. It was heartwarming. The two Anbu looked at each other and nodded, only to disappear in a swirl of leaves. Flashback Kai. Naruto grinned as he felt two familiar presences near him. He didn't acknowledge them because he knew Mizuki was watching. The shinobi in Konoha were all informed of what Naruto was doing, and why. They all liked him, and trusted the Sandaime that Naruto would do a good job. Right now, all the potential senseis and other jonins were watching the events unfolding through the Sandaime's crystal ball. Naruto came to a clearing and stopped. He sensed Mizuki in a treetop about 100 feet away from him. Recalling what the Sandaime said, he decided that he would learn a jutsu from the scroll. Opening the scroll, he found none to be interesting. Kage Bunshin. He learned that one when he was 5 and learned that he had too much chakra for a regular useless Bunshin. Bakuretsu Bunshin too easy for Naruto. He had already made his own variation out of it, less explosive though. The Bunshin's body would explode in 1,000 sakura petals, each as sharp as a razor. Naruto found some more that looked interesting, but were really not. Hell, he had learned half of them years ago, mainly from Kakashi and Asuma. The two jonins were his surrogate brothers. Well, technically, Kakashi was his cousin. Tsukumo Hatake was the cousin of Namikaze Minato, but since both of them were orphans, the boy's uncle, Jiraiya had raised them. They were as close as brothers, and the bond had been passed down to their children as well. Naruto thought as he looked at the scroll again. Shiki Fujin. That's what Dad used to seal furball in me. Kit, how many times do I have to tell you that I resent being called furball? Ah, go suck it, Ni-chan, was Naruto's snarky response. Well, ya know, I did love to suck my lady back in the day, but I guess I'll have to make do with you now. Kyuubi shot back. Naruto just gave a mental chuckle at his brother's response. Yeah, I know. Hitomi Ne-chan was the love of your life and then you were sealed inside me. Geez, it wasn't my fault that Madara Uchiha decided to use Kohoa as fodder for his twisted plan to dominate the world. As soon as Q had met Naruto after Naruto meditated to reach his inner self, Q had told Naruto who he was and why he was sealed inside him. Hitomi happened to be Q's mate. Naruto in turn had relayed all the information to the Sandaime. The Sandaime had secretly been ordering Jiraiya to look out for any information regarding the traitorous man. Back to the forest. Well, I gotta make Mizuki Tem believe that I'm learning a forbidden jutsu. I'll do Kage Bunshin, I guess. For the next hour or so it looked like Naruto was working very hard at mastering a jutsu while in fact he was having an intense thumb war with himself. From the treetops Mizuki was watching the demon brat carefully. Yes, that's right, Naruto, learn from the scroll. It's not like you will be alive later to use it anyway. Soon, my lord, the scroll of sealing will be in your hands and I will be rewarded beyond belief. Mizuki had been planning this little escapade 2 weeks before the Genin exams. Naruto had joined the academy when he was 7. Mizuki had periodically been placing genjutsus on his tests, to make him intentionally fail. Of course Naruto, being the damn genius that he is, told Sandaime Jiji all about what the bastard had been doing. In addition to the genjutsu, Mizuki had given Naruto rusty old kunais to throw and always sparred with Naruto himself to humiliate him further. The only reason why Naruto put up with the crap was because Hiruzen had given Naruto the S-rank mission of revealing all of Mizuki's dirty little secrets. Just as Mizuki was about to tell Naruto what a good job he had done in getting the scroll of sealing, another presence quickly made itself present. Naruto! Iruka-sensei yelled. What the heck are you doing with that scroll? For a second Naruto had been confused as to why Iruka was here when all the shinobis in the village were informed of what Naruto was doing. Then Naruto realized that all the shinobis to him just meant some chunins, all the jonins, and the anbu. Iruka must not have heard Naruto's mission, and came to confront him himself. Naruto quickly put on his stupid mask. Oh, Iruka-sensei, you caught me. Anyo-sa, Mizuki-sensei told me that if I learned a jutsu from the scroll, I could graduate. Nay, Honto ka, said Naruto feigning ignorance. Iruka, for his part, was flabbergasted. Mizuki had come to him earlier saying that Naruto had stolen the scroll of sealing. Iruka knew that Naruto was depressed that he hadn't passed, but to seal a forbidden scroll. That was preposterous. Iruka was frightened that perhaps the demon sealed inside of him was influencing Naruto into doing this. It also raised the question as to how the dead last had managed to steal something that had various barriers around it. Perhaps Naruto was more skilled than he let on, or that he had done his ridiculous Oroku no Jutsu on the Sandame. He shuddered at the latter of the two. Mizuki. Iruka was very confused at the moment. Before he could say anything, Mizuki decided to make his presence apparent. Naruto, excellent job in taking the scroll. Now, please give me it so I can give it back to Sandame-sama. We had this entire thing planned out for you so you can graduate. Having you learn from the scroll was the best way of developing your non-existent skills. In the Hokage's office, the Sandame snorted. Mizuki had no idea what was going to become of him, Naruto would assure that. You know what, Mizuki-sensei, I don't really feel like it. This scroll is pretty cool and giving it to a stranger is against my morals. Everyone who heard that comment sweat dropped. Haha. Don't make me laugh. What would a demon like you know about morals? Oi Naruto, do you know why everyone calls you a demon? Perhaps I should be the one to tell you. Wait Mizuki. No, it's against the law, a frantic Iruka cried. He had been assessing the situation in relative silence, thinking on what to do next. Iruka was in turmoil. Mizuki was one of his oldest friends since the academy who was making Naruto a pawn in a scheme that only God knew. Iruka, you idiot, you can't stop me. Naruto, the reason why everyone hates you is because you are Kyuubi no Kitsune. The Yondaime sealed him in you and the Sandame made a law that said that no one can talk about it. Naruto put on a horrified expression and began to roll on the forest ground in what looked like uncontrollable fury, but it was actually badly restrained mirth that was coming out. No, no, how is that possible? Is that why the village hates me? Is that why I have massive stomach pains when I eat too much ramen? Then, am I really a monster? Naruto's expression changed to a stormy visage. That's what you expected me to say, isn't it? Well, newsflash asshole, I've known about Q-ni-chan since I was 4 and I gotta say, as long as I keep feeding him ramen, he's a great brother. Everyone in the Hokage's office burst into uncontrollable laughter. Asuma was clutching the sides of his father's desk while wiping the tears from his eyes. God, I love Naruto's mask sometimes, he said. The Hokage himself concealed his mirth carefully and replied, yes, well, let's see how this plays out. Mizuki looked like a gaping fish for a moment. Iruka was stunned. Anko and Kakashi quickly pulled out cameras and snapped pictures of their shocked expressions. Mentally, Iruka's sweat dropped. Only Naruto could bond with the king of Makai, hell, through ramen. So you admit to being the demon? That's great. Now you will be executed and I will get the scroll of sealing. Then, I will be made the hero of Konoha for killing the very thing that nearly destroyed it. Naruto was getting sick and tired of Mizuki's pathetic attempts to rile him up. This could be noted because of the visible tic on the boy's face. But, he wanted to know if Mizuki really was working for Orochimaru. Pardon me, sensei. He snarled the word with contempt. I am not adequate with sealing jutsus, that's a lie, but if a kunai is sealed into a scroll, then does that really mean that the scroll itself is the kunai? No, the kunai and the scroll are completely different and it would be best if you and the pathetic civilians in this village learn that. However, if the scroll is opened, the kunai will be unleashed and wreak havoc on its victim. Am I correct? Neither Mizuki nor Iruka could find any flaws with his logic. Iruka was startled by the many revelations that Naruto had made. He was certainly not the hyperactive blonde that he was thought to be. This Naruto was calculating and shrewd, like a true shinobi. Mizuki was growing impatient with the brat. He took out a syringe and a vial of purple-looking liquid from a flap in his Chunin vest. He took the syringe and inserted it into his wrist. Naruto felt a dark presence entering Mizuki's system. Cautiously, he took a whiff of the air and became alarmed. The stuff smelled like anko, like snakes. But it was stronger, much stronger. It reeked of death, despair, anguish, and surprisingly little boys. Shit, Naruto cursed. Mizuki was growing stronger by that stuff, and things just got a lot more complicated for the blonde. Kakashi and Anko were worried for Naruto. They knew that they had to step in sooner or later, but what Naruto had said earlier stopped them. Flashback no Jutsu. Hajime. Oi, Naruto, why did you want to see us? Kakashi asked with his usual eye smile. Anko stood beside Kakashi as well, waiting for an answer. Nei-chan, Ni-chan. Naruto began very serious. I asked both of you to come with me because I trust you with my life. Kaka ni, you are my brother and Anko ne, I'm pretty soon you will become my sister, legally. Kakashi and Anko looked at each other, bewildered, then Kakashi blushed furiously as Anko turned as violet as her hair. Ma, Naruto. You know Anko and I don't have that kind of relationship. Yet. Kakashi said. Oh really? Then why did I hear you moaning and groaning her name in the bathroom over and over again? Be quieter the next time you do something like that. Naruto retorted. Kakashi wanted to bury himself under all of his porn books never to be dug out again. Naruto, I'll pay you back tenfold one day. Anko didn't know whether to be appalled or flattered that the silver-haired wolf was, thinking, happy, thoughts about her. Though now that I think about it, she mused, he is quite the looker. If only I could see what was beneath that mask of his, or maybe even lower, she added perversely. Kakashi cleared his throat. Anyway, you must have a good reason for us to come if you think that you can't take Mizuki by himself. Naruto replied, no, Mizuki most likely will not be that big of a problem. I will kill him. I need you two here for one of two reasons, either he will have some type of backup, or he has the curse mark like you did Anko ne. If he does, then his body, once no longer living, will be the perfect reference to Orochimaru's work. I checked Mizuki's records, and he left the village 3 months ago to a village called Otogakure for a potential alliance between us and them. Mizuki was rather rudely turned away from them, but I believe that Orochimaru has something to do with it. When he came back to the village, his fiancée, Tsubaki reported that he was being rough and violent. He was also yelling something in his sleep like, power, I need more power. Uruka reported that he nearly killed an academy student while a simple taijutsu spar. In fact, Mizuki was openly showing his hatred towards me in class, and placing all of my tests under high-level genjutsus that were somewhat difficult to break. Not to mention that he smells strongly of snakes. Q's nose dies just standing around him. His aura is becoming dark and malevolent. Something or someone has to be influencing him. If it had been anyone else but those two who had heard what Naruto had said, they would have been floored. However, Kakashi and Anko knew of their, Naru-chan's, intelligence. Kakashi nodded and said, so what do you want us to do? I want you to trust me. Just watch my back, please. This is your little brother asking. Kakashi I smiled and Anko ruffled his hair. Why of course Naru-chan, who are we to deny our little darling Otuto, little brother anything? Anko said. Naruto grinned his foxy little grin and exclaimed, thanks guys, you're the best. Kakashi watched as he ran off into the distance, clutching the forbidden scroll. Nay, Oji-san, Oto-san, what would you say if you saw Naruto now? So Kakashi, what was it that Naru-chan said about you jacking off to me? Anko asked sultrily. The look in her eye was that of a predator to her prey. So Kakashi did the only thing that any man would have done in his place, He ran, far away. Flashback Kai. Anko. Kakashi whispered to her from their hidden location in the treetops, adjacent to where Mizuki had been hiding, "Let's trust him, and see how this plays out." Anko nodded her affirmation. The pair watched the trio with tense eyes, ready to move at the slightest sign of Naruto faltering. Meanwhile, Mizuki was developing a very tiger-like exterior. The telltale signs of the cursed seal appeared on his body as well. His body was smoking slightly, and Iruka was cringing with the vile chakra that surrounded him. Iruka turned to look at Naruto, and to his surprise, Naruto held a deceptively passive attitude. His face was void of any emotion while he was taking in the scene in front of him. Naruto was in deep concentration. Without a doubt, Mizuki's transformation was because of Orochimaru's experimentation on that vial he had injected. That potion seems to give the user enhanced abilities for a designated period of time. However, it takes a severe toll on the body, and Mizuki will die within minutes after the effects are over. Well Orotem, I guess I can thank you for one thing. Naruto's musings were cut short by a hysterical laugh. Oh, I can just feel the power oozing off of me. Now I can finally beat you to the ground, demon brat. And you too, Iruka. You protected that demon so many times that it makes me sick. You're just a weak, pathetic, demon lover. Iruka was boiling with fury. Shut up. Look at yourself. How dare you call Naruto a demon when you yourself have turned into a thing? Who are you, Mizuki? What are you? Me. I am your killer. Mizuki raised his Fuma shuriken to pierce. Knew he was trapped. He had no way of countering that shuriken when it came. So this is how I will die. At least Naruto can get away to inform others. Iruka resigned himself to death. All of a sudden, a great burst of wind knocked the shuriken out of Mizuki's hand. He looked around wildly until he spotted the creator of the wind. There, 50 feet in front of him, Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto stood there with his back against the very same tree that Anko and Kakashi were hidden in. So, how did you like my Fuden Rinkuden? Naruto asked as if he was discussing the weather outside. Mizuki's lips turned up in an insane smile. Ah, hello demon, how would you like to see your sensei die today? Not once did he consider that Naruto had just done a B-ranked elemental jutsu. And this was the supposed dead last of the year. Iruka-sensei. Dying. Don't be preposterous, the only one dying will be you today. Iruka was amazed that the boy thought he could actually kill Mizuki. In addition to that, he was surprised to hear the preposterous come out of his mouth. It seemed like the only vocabulary that the boy had was ramen and Hokage. Nay, Mizuki-tem, tell me, who do you work for? At this, Mizuki stiffened, and Naruto, Kakashi, and Anko saw this. What do you mean, B? Boy. Naruto thought. Mizuki is stuttering, and is sounding an awful lot like someone else I know. I wonder who. Meanwhile in the Hyuga estates, a blue-haired pale-eyed girl sneezed while in front of her Naruto shrine. I mean that the stuff that you injected is not from Konoha. This leads me to believe that you have accomplices from another village helping you in some plan. Or perhaps you are planning to steal the forbidden scroll, leave the village, and give it to your master. Mizuki gulped nervously. He hadn't expected the brat to be so observant in his analysis. So tell me again, who are you working for? This time the question was laced with demonic killer intent. Mizuki nearly pissed in his pants while Iruka was trembling on the ground. Where had the adorable hyperactive blonde gone, and who exactly had replaced him? Inwardly, Anko smirked. You are screwed. The people in the Hokage's office were all proud of how far Naruto had come, even when he was faced with adversity. Mizuki put on a face of false bravado. Ha ha, why the hell would I tell a demon like you anything? Maybe because this demon is going to beat the shit out of you if you don't. A gentle wind flew through the area, and at Naruto's whim, captured Iruka and guided him back to safety. As Iruka stared at Naruto in awe, Naruto asked, "It's Orochimaru, right? That curse seal is his." At this moment, no words were needed to confirm Naruto's suspicions. Mizuki's face told all the answers. Kakashi made subtle hand signs and within seconds, the Hokage was next to him, observing keenly. Anko dropped down to pick Iruka up. Once both were situated comfortably on the tree tops, Iruka was thoroughly confused. The Hokage and two Anbu were just watching his wayward student without having the slightest inclination to help. Anyo, Hokage-sama, Hiruzen looked at Iruka with petulant eyes. Why is it that you are not helping Naruto fight Mizuki? God knows that he needs it. The Hokage chuckled slightly. Ah, Iruka, you should have more faith in Naruto. He is not who he seems to be. I'll tell you a small secret. I was the one who ordered Naruto to fail the graduation test 3 times. Naruto had been voicing suspicions of Mizuki, and when Naruto was asked to take the scroll of sealing by the idiot, well, it was a perfect ploy to get Mizuki admit working for our village's greatest traitor. Naruto is very strong, stronger than most Chunin, and he will only continue to grow. So let's watch my delightful grandson beat the living daylights out of the shitstain in front of us, shall we? Naruto is that strong, Iruka whispered incredulously. It was hard for anyone to believe that the prank-loving, hyperactive, idiotic boy was strong. Hi, Iruka he is, now shut up and watch. The Sandaime replied. Mizuki eyed the demon brat warily. He had controlled the wind to such an extent that was not possible. Just who was he? The best option that Mizuki had was to kill the boy as soon as possible so that he could not mess with his plans anymore. Are you going to do something, or do I have to make the first move? Growled Naruto impatiently. TCH, this is too troublesome for me to deal with. Those who were watching through the Sandaime's crystal ball sweat dropped. Since when did he start acting like a Nara? Nara Shikaku was also watching the confrontation, smirked. It was about high time that somebody understood how troublesome this situation was. The Sandaime inwardly sighed. Naruto, as strong as you are, why can't you be more patent? Mizuki was furious. All right, you brat, let's go, show me your demon abilities. Naruto sighed. Listen, you idiot, how many times do I have to tell you that I am not the Kyuubi? I don't care, you are the Kyuubi, no matter what anyone says. Alright, well, it's your death. Naruto put on a very official tone. Tsuji Mizuki, you are hereby under arrest for breaking the Sandaime's decree as well as betraying the village and trying to join a sworn enemy. The punishment that I have deemed prudent is death. Mizuki scoffed. Oh, and what can the dead last? Someone who is not even a genin do to me, a chunin. You filthy demon brat, you could never touch me. Naruto turned around to the place where the Sandaime was positioned. The Sandaime was confused as to what Naruto was doing. Naruto simply threw his hands up in exasperation and kicked the base of the tree a couple times, causing the 4 occupants of the tree top to hang on using chakra. Mizuki. Naruto began in a very serious voice, rank means nothing. In fact, I know of one other genin who could kill you right now. Has it ever occurred to you that every action that I took was nothing but a farce, a mask? Do you honestly think that I would willingly wear this orange abomination, and that I would eat nothing but ramen? Has it? I am a lot stronger than you, traitor. And after I graduate, I will flaunt it openly. Back in the treetops, Iruka knew he had a lot of thinking to do on his blonde-haired student. Even the Hokage had said that Naruto was stronger than he looked. For years he had adhered to Hatake Kakashi's ideology of looking underneath the underneath. It seems that he had never truly looked at Naruto before. If he had, he would have seen the fake smiles among other things. He would have seen the fake crush that he had on a certain pink-haired banshee, and he would have seen the look of hurt on Naruto's face when Iruka had said that he had failed. I really did mess up, didn't I? Iruka thought ruefully. From now on, he would be at Naruto's side for as long as he lived, this he vowed. Prove it then, demon. Mizuki's voice broke Iruka out of his stupor. Prove that you can kill me. But wait, you can't. You are just talk, you are nothing, you are the scum that resides beneath my feet, and I intend to put you in your rightful place, demon. You just made the biggest mistake of your life, Mizuki. This was the thought of all of the onlookers. Is that so? Naruto said in an uncanny imitation of Uchiha Sasuke. Well then, let me show you just what I can do. With a single hand motion, hundreds of Naruto clones appeared. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Mizuki was slightly scared at the thought of the Kage Bunshins. Slightly was the key word. Hey, brat, so this is what you learned from the scroll, is it? One of the Naruto clones picked his ear and looked at his finger. No. The boss never really learned anything from the scroll. Hokage Gigi said that it would be best if we went along with your plan and pretend to steal it. He learned Kage Bunshin from Kakani a long time ago. So you didn't learn any techniques from the scroll at all. Pity. At least you could have died with some sense of accomplishment. The scroll wasn't really helpful as I know most of the techniques. Naruto replied. Iruka was floored. Naruto knew jutsus from the Forbidden Scroll. Now he knew that he had to pay more attention to Naruto. Kit, come on already. I want to kill this bastard so bad. Gomen, Kuni, I really have talked too much, haven't I? Well, let the ass kicking begin. Ye Naru, kick his pasty white butt from here to America. America? What's that? Ah, never mind. Anyway, go on and start. Naruto gave a mental nod to the fox and cracked his knuckles. Let's get wild. Immediately, all of the Naruto clones began a barrage of kicks and punches that knocked the wind out of Mizuki. Uzumaki, Naruto Renden. Mizuki was thrust upward briefly, before he came crashing down to the forest floor in a sickening crunch. The onlookers winced at Mizuki's plight. Never fuck with Naruto when he is mad, period. Mizuki groaned on the floor. How was it possible that this demon could injure him this much? It wasn't. He was a Chunin and Naruto was a nobody. Then Mizuki felt it. The power in his veins flowed as the liquid that he injected burned, leaving him powerful and Naruto helpless. Or so he thought. Kakashi and Anko were growing anxious. As they were about to leave, a hand stopped them. Do you honestly think that Naruto would forgive you if you entered his fight? The Sandame inquired. Kakashi was about to say something, but Anko cut in. Sandame-sama, Naruto is our little brother, more so Kaka-kun's than mine, but a little brother all the same. We can't bear the thought of anyone hurting him. So please, let us go to him. Anko, Kakashi, trust him. He specifically asked the two of you to come here for a reason, and that reason was his backup. So I ask you to trust my grandson. Iruka was silently listening to this confrontation. Mitarashi Anko and Hatake Kakashi think of Naruto as their little brother. And the Sandame thinks of his as his grandson. Naruto, what other surprises do you have? Kakashi and Anko nodded, albeit hesitantly. Back on the forest floor, Naruto eyed Mizuki with wary eyes. He could smell the venom burning through Mizuki rapidly. Based on this rate, Mizuki will die in the next 15 minutes. But he has gotten ridiculously strong as well. What should I do? Naruto created several more Kage Bunshins without letting Mizuki know, and sent them throughout the forest. One of the Kage Shushin to the treetops where the four ninja were located. Yo, I'm Alpha, boss's right-hand clone. I was sent here to ask you to join the fight if Mizuki goes out of hand. Oh, and boss said that Mizuki will die in about 15 minutes, whether or not the boss kills him. Oh, and why is that? The Sandame asked. The Naruto clone looked grim, an expression Iruka had never seen on Naruto's face. Mizuki injected one of Orochimaru's failed experiments into his system. From the smell that boss got from it, it is composed of Orochimaru's blood, tiger DNA, and snake venom. While the potion makes the user stronger for a short while, it completely destroys the chakra pathways and leave the user too weak to think. Eventually, the venom will spread to one place, the heart. When the venom is saturated in the heart, it will constrict the heart and force the aorta to burst, effectively killing the user. Iruka was at loss for words. Naruto, how exactly do you know this? He asked. The Naruto clone looked at Iruka critically before his eyes softened a bit. Gomen, Iruka-sensei, I guess you are not used to this, Naruto, are you? Iruka shook his head. The Naruto clone continued, for the past 3 years, the boss and several Jonins have been researching Orochimaru's experiments. Something big is about to happen and we know it. With the information we acquired, it was possible for us to remove Anko Nei's curse mark. The seal reacts to the user's emotions and will. Anko Nei never used the seal willingly, so there was no taint in her chakra. The more taint there is, the harder it is to remove. Plus, hers was the prototype, which means all other curse seals are modeled after hers. It also makes it the weakest seal, thus it was easier to remove. Iruka looked at the others incredulously, but they all nodded and told him that Naruto's story was 100% true. Naruto, could I ask you a question? Go on, Iruka-sensei. If you are this strong, then why hide it from us? Why did you fail the exam 3 times? Naruto's face darkened. As the boss would say, which will the people fear more, a smart demon or a stupid one? This is all our mask. The civilians are scared of boss and have tried to kill him several times. Of course they couldn't because boss has the backing of all the clan heads plus all the Jonin and Anbu in the village. Throw in Hokage Gigi into the equation and boss is virtually untouchable. But we can't show our powers until it is safe, which means until we are ninja. Only the civilian sector of the village and some Chunins hate the boss. If the boss wanted to get food in the past, all the civilians would overprice him and say that they don't serve demons. The boss only shops in Shinobi-owned store plus Ichiraku Ramen, which is the only civilian store that will serve him. He openly loves the 2 working there, and many shinobis eat there because of boss. Iruka bowed his head in shame. He remembered when Naruto had first entered the academy. No instructors paid attention to him, and Iruka admitted that he was one of them. He used to hate Naruto for something that Naruto had no control over. But as the years passed, Naruto grew on him like a little brother. Today he learned that the Naruto he knew was not the real Naruto. He wanted to know the real Naruto better. Naruto saw the look that Iruka had. Iruka-sensei, it's alright that you couldn't see through my mask. Only those extremely close to me can like those 3. I have many secrets that only the most trusted Jonin and Anbu are privy to. So don't beat yourself up. Hi, Naruto, arigato. Naruto just smiled in response. Meanwhile, the real Naruto and Mizuki were engaged in a heated fight. Naruto figured that Mizuki had about 5 or 6 more minutes to live. Fuden. Datopa. Naruto cried. Mizuki deftly dodged the wind and made a couple hand seals. Mugen. Narakumi no Jutsu. Of course Naruto had trained with the Genjutsu mistress Yuhi Kurenai when he was younger. He knew all too well what the hell viewing technique did. Kurenai, after realizing that he wouldn't succumb to her genjutsus, practiced on Sarutobi Asuma. He claimed he saw all of his cigarettes being burned forever. Although Naruto was not susceptible to genjutsu, he couldn't cast any of them for his life. So obviously the jutsu that Mizuki had done had absolutely no effect on the blonde. Was that supposed to do something? Asked Naruto. Mizuki's sweat dropped. Alright, then it's my turn then. Naruto said in a bored lazy voice that reminded everyone of the Nara clan. Inwardly, Shikaku beamed as he looked through the crystal ball at the blonde with fond eyes. Alpha, ask Gigi if I can use my bloodline. I know that he said yes, but there are many people watching this fight. Will do, boss. Hokage-sama, boss asked if he could use his bloodline. Although he said that you allowed him to do so, most of those who are watching this fight through your office do not know of his bloodline. Naruto has my permission. Let him know that those who are watching are trustworthy. Hi. The Naruto clone replied. Boss, Hokage-sama says it's alright. Go on. Naruto has a bloodline, Iruka asked. Which one is it? That is something that you will have to see, Iruka. Was Anko's reply. Thanks, Alpha. Naruto took a deep breath and steadied himself. Oi, Mizuki, prepare yourself. Mizuki took up a defensive position, poised for any attack that Naruto would throw upon him. However, Naruto made no inclination to move. In reality, the words Naruto had said earlier were meant to provoke Mizuki into attacking. That way, his bloodline would be effective. Well, demon, are you going to attack or not? Did you say something? Kakashi grinned at his cousin. I love him so much. TCH, well, if you're not going to attack, I will. Perfect. Naruto thought, he can't escape now, plus he has 3 more minutes to live. Mizuki went through roughly 10 hand seals. Just as he was about to cry out his ultimate attack, a cry of Kage Main Jutsu, success, was heard. Mizuki could not move. Even with the extra speed he had received, he was stuck. Frantically, he looked around the surrounding area for any Naras, but he couldn't find them. Instead, everyone's favorite blonde-haired demon brat kneeling 25 feet away from his with his hands in a rat seal. Shadows extended from his body and held Mizuki in place. Naruto's a Nara. Those who did not know about his bloodline looked forward in awe. Then they turned to Shikaku for an explanation. TCH, this is troublesome, but yes, he is. His father was my half-brother. Same father, but different mother, although his mother did hold Nara blood as well. Naruto is my nephew and Shikamaru's cousin. The entire Nara clan knows of this, and we have adopted both Hatake Kakashi and Uzumaki Naruto into our clan. Kakashi is also my nephew, as Sakumo was my brother's cousin, making him my cousin as well. The Nara blood runs strong through Naruto. He has made us all proud. Shikaku finished with obvious pride in his. Others couldn't help but agree. Elsewhere in the forest, Iruka was shaking. Naruto had a Kekai Genkai, and the Nara limit at that. Sandaime-sama, did Naruto get that because of? The Hokage sensed what he was asking. No, Iruka, it is not because of Kyuubi. Naruto is part Nara, so he had their bloodline. His father did not have it, but he passed it on to Naruto. Iruka nodded and fell silent at his leader's explanation. Naruto was the most unpredictable ninja, that was for sure. Mizuki was scared. No, he was terrified. The demon brat had a bloodline, which meant he was from a clan. And not just any clan, the Nara clan. Although it was a deceptively passive clan, they were merciless to whoever harmed any of their family. Mizuki was screwed. Perhaps it would have been better to die. So do you give up or what? This entire thing is too troublesome and I really have to get home to tend the deer or else Yoshino Ba-chan will castrate me with her bare hands. All the males shivered. Yoshino could be downright scary when she was pissed. Shikaku, Naruto, Shikamaru, and Kakashi could attest to that. Sighing, Naruto dropped the shadows. Kanashibari no Jutsu, he called. The Anbu level technique froze Mizuki in place. Quickly, Naruto revealed a katana that he had from a scroll. He threw it at Mizuki, who could not dodge because of the paralysis jutsu. Naruto watched in grim satisfaction as the katana lopped Mizuki's head off. Alright, you four, you can come out now. Alpha, report. Alpha gracefully descended from the tree. Sir, there are no known threats in the area. Mizuki was acting alone. Thanks Alpha. You and the others can dispel yourselves now. Alpha gave a quick salute to his boss and vanished in a poof of smoke. Kakashi, Anko, Iruka, and the Sandaime also came down. Ah Naruto, good work. But tell me, what will you do with his body? The Sandaime asked curiously. I will examine it and send some results to Ba-chan. She will analyze it and send it back to me with her data. Naruto replied. Kakashi laughed. Now what say us 5 plus a dead body go back to Hokage-sama's office and have a nice long chat. The 5 ninjas all shushined back into the room. As soon as he entered the office, Naruto's eyes met Shikaku's. Gomenji-san, I couldn't keep the secret much longer. Shikaku waved it off. It's alright Naru, people were going to find out anyway. So does this mean that you will take the Nara name? Yes, I will. From today onwards my name will be Nara Naruto. Dad was an almost complete Nara, yet he took Jiraiya-ji-san's last name of Namikaze. I can't call myself Namikaze Naruto because it would start an uproar. But one day I shall take the name Namikaze Nara Naruto. This is promise you. The fire in his eyes was so great that the onlookers were hypnotized by his piercing azure eyes. Wait, Namikaze, then does that mean? Iruka never finished his thought. Hi Iruka-sensei, Namikaze. Namikaze Minato, or the Kuroi Senko as well as Uzumaki Kushina, the bloody red habanero were my parents. Think about it, do you really think that dad would let any other parent bear that burden? No, mom and dad knew what they were doing. My mother was the previous container to the Kyuubi as well as the grand niece of the Shodaime Hokage's wife, making her his grand niece as well. Only those of Senju or Uzumaki blood can hold tailed beasts properly. So in essence, I am the living relative to 3 of the 4 Hokages, 2 Sanins, the Nara clan, and Hitaki Kakashi. Not to mention that since the Uzumaki clan was a branch of the Senju, I am the last of Whirlpool royalty. For those in the room who didn't know of Naruto's impressive lineage, it was quite the surprise by the implications of what that meant. Naruto was basically village royalty, although the damn villagers could and probably would never see that. The others chuckled at the priceless expressions on some faces. Naruto never failed to disappoint them. The Hokage cleared his throat. Yes well Naruto, now that everyone knows your exceptional lineage, it is time we decide your rank as well. Clearly you are a very talented ninja. Would elite Chunin be good for you? In all honest Gigi, just put me at Genin. All eyes widened at this. Before any of you say anything, me becoming a Chunin will throw off the team numbers. At this moment there are 24 graduates, including me. If I am out of the equation, then that leaves an unbalance in the teams. So I have to be there. If I get bored or something, just promote me whenever. At that point, it would be easy to get another team member. Everyone was stunned at Naruto's humility. He would sacrifice his own superior rank to keep the teams intact. He was more like an angel than a demon. Hiruzen smiled sadly. Okay, Naru-chan, a genin it is. But I order you 2 things. Hi. Naruto snapped to attention. You and Shikamaru must start showing your intelligence and true powers, that includes dropping your henge. Secondly, if I see you wearing the slightest bit of orange, you are out of the ninja career. I think I might ban orange from all the stores. Gigi, you are absolutely right. This orange monstrosity is driving me insane. And the henge, are you sure? Well of course, you look more like your father with it, and if you run into Iowa Nins, they most likely will add you in the bingo book as the Nadaime Kuroi Senko. Second yellow flash. Iruka felt as if he were out of the loop. Naruto, if you're wearing a henge, how come no one can see through it? Naruto replied, I'm not really sure, but I think it has something to do with Q-ni being stuck in my gut. Kitsunes were always known for their prankster ways, and a solid henge is one of them. It's partially how I did all my pranks, that and I am a god at stealth. I hid from Anbu in plain sight in orange for crying out loud. Anbu has an entire course designed to catching me. But it's only you who ever catches me. It's pretty amazing. Uruka rubbed the back of his head sheepishly. Yeah, well, it's like I can sense exactly where you are. My senses zone into you. The Sandaime and others made a mental note just to ask Uruka any time Naruto pulled a major prank like he did back in the day, such as having the entire village's water supply turn pink and blaming it on the Harunos. Uruka-sensei, do you honestly think that I was some scrawny little kid who only ate ramen when I had Kaka ni, Anko ne, Gai ni, Asuma ni, Kurenai ne, Hayate ni, and Yugao ne as my teachers? You were taught by elite Jonins. A random Jonin who had watched asked. Yeah, that was his simple answer. Anyway, Kai. In front of around 50 people crowded in the Hokage's office stood a Naruto who was taller by about 5 in, the same height of Shikamaru, with intense azure eyes. His blonde hair was slightly darker and longer, and fell out in long bangs that framed his face. His build was muscular, but not overly so. He was not the scrawny boy who Uruka has caught in all his pranks. He was a young man who was worthy of the shinobi name. He was the inheritor to the will of fire. Kid, did you see their faces? No Dunny-chan, I look like the carbon copy of Dad. Of course they are stunned. Haha, I got a mental snapshot of this, now only if I could develop it somehow. Naruto mentally sweat dropped. Yeah, have fun with that. Yush, Naru-chan, your springtime of youth flourishes so brightly. Guy said, yelled. Naruto smiled warmly at him. Although many would be put off by Guy's eccentric ways, Naruto knew it was a farce to mask the pain of losing his wife a year before the Kyuubi attack. Guy had a son somewhere, but he didn't know where. Thanks Guy ni. Your springtime of youth has not diminished one bit. It burns so brightly that it blinds everyone. Naruto and Guy struck identical, nice guy, poses and their teeth sparkled. Kakashi pulled Naruto to the side. Do not ever do that again or Anko will set Manda on you, understood? A storm seemed to rage outside. Hi, Kaka ni, stammered Naruto. Everyone except Guy laughed at his predicament. Guy went to go sulk in a corner with a sad aura emanating from him. Anyway, Gigi, do you know whose team I am going to be on? Naruto, why don't you tell me? Well, I am the dead last in the class, so most likely I would be with the rookie of the year and the top girl in the academy. So I guess that would be Sasuke and Sakura. And how about your sensei? That's easy. Kaka ni would be our sensei because he is the only one who can teach Sasuke about the Sharingan once he activates it. Yes, very good, and how would your team turn out? In all honesty, it would fail. Everyone except the Sandaime and Kakashi was surprised. Oh, why is that? Anko asked. Naruto turned to his surrogate sister. Sakura is the biggest Sasuke fan girl in existence. At least Ino only pretends to be, so that people will underestimate her. Sakura will blindly follow Sasuke anywhere, if he decides to leave the village. She would die for him. Additionally, she hates me because according to her, I'm annoying. Kaka ni's test will be about teamwork, no doubt. Sakura will work with Sasuke, but not me. Sasuke is a completely different story. I read the reports that Inoichi-san had on him. The boy is mentally unstable. He would kill of his teammates to achieve his goals. You probably want me to be the team's son, and bring light to Sasuke, but he will never listen. At most, I will become his rival and then he will try to kill me. The other teams are more balanced. Hinata, Kiba, and Shino under Kurenai ne would be the tracking team. Ino, Shika, and Choji would be their parents' team under Asuma ni. My concern about Kurenai's team is that they do not have any heavy hitters, ninjutsu specialists. The Hyuga do not do ninjutsu, the Aburame rely on their bugs, but it takes too much out of them, and Kiba has a couple of combo attacks with Akamaru, but that's it. The team would not fare well against ninjutsu-based opponents. They need at least one ninjutsu person on their team. Many who did not know Naruto were fazed by how much thought he had put into this analysis in such a short time, Iruka included. Naruto, thank you for your insight. I dare say you and Kakashi should get home along with Shikaku, otherwise Yoshini-chan will kill me as well as you three. The Sandaime along with the three men in question shivered at the thought of their wife or aunt killing them. Bye Gigi, see ya tomorrow. And tell Ko that he has to work on his Oroku no Jutsu. Naruto disappeared in a burst of flames. Shikaku and Kakashi followed suit. Oroku no Jutsu, what's that? Genma asked. That technique is Naruto's inner pervert coming out. He calls it the cage killer. Now he's teaching it to my grandson. We are all so screwed. The Sandaime shivered once more. The remaining people in the room sweat dropped as they saw their leader cowering in fear from a 12-year-old boy's technique, even if the boy could give most members in the room a run for their money. Shikamaru met Naruto at the front gates. Yo Naruto, how'd capturing the traitor go? He's dead now so no worries. Anyway, Sandaime Gigi said that we had to show our real selves. Not the mask that we created. Shikamaru gave him a once-over. So that's why you dropped the henge? Precisely. Naruto answered. Let's go to bed. We have to go to the academy tomorrow. Oh, you should probably know that my name's Naruto now. It was Dad's real last name, so it's alright. Shikamaru grinned. Good. So now you can start acting like one instead of the hyperactive idiot that you were. TCH. Troublesome, but yes. Naruto replied. Spoken like a true Nara. Let's hurry before Mom finds us. She might kill us. Both boys hurried into their rooms. Nara Yoshino stepped out of the shadows and muttered, I'm not that scary, am I? A bird dropped dead from the tree as she and her trusty frying pan went to go hit Shikaku over the head for letting her darling nephew take on an enemy by himself. Shikamaru and Naruto winced as they heard their uncle's yells coming from downstairs. Yep. Nara Shikaku was whipped, figuratively and literally. Naruto met Shikamaru at the breakfast table where Kakashi, Shikaku, and Yoshino already were seated. Good morning. Naruto yawned sleepily. Morning cuz. Shikamaru replied with his own yawn. You're up early today. Naruto noticed. Usually the boys would come down at the same time. I woke up a minute before the alarm clock went off. Usually it takes me 10 minutes after the alarm to get up, but today was different. There was no point in going back to sleep, so here I am. That really is troublesome, isn't it? At this, Kakashi sweat dropped. The only troublesome thing here are my two lazy-ass cousins. Anyway, Shikamaru said, we should leave in 5 minutes if you want to be early. With you dropping the henge, it's only a matter of time before you get fangirls. Naruto had a horrified expression on his face. Fangirls, he stammered. The things that follow you around no matter what. The very bane of my existence. Shit man, I am so screwed. Yoshino banged Naruto over the head with a frying pan. You will not use such vulgar language in this house. Do you understand? Naruto yelped out in pain. Hi. Ba-chan. I do. Good. Now finish your breakfast, darling. You wouldn't want to be late, would you? The men at the table were all thinking the same thing, are all women bipolar? Shikamaru decided to speak up. Nay, Kakani, do you know who our senseis are going to be? Kakashi I smiled. I do. The team assignments were given to me early this morning. But, it's a surprise, so I'm not going to ruin it for ya. Aw, forget it, Shika, we'll find out anyway. But I'm guessing there are slight changes from the teams that I thought up yesterday. Naruto asked his silver-haired cousin. Yep. Hokage-sama stated that you were right and decided to change the teams up. I have to go now, so I'll see you at the academy. Thanks or the meal boss-san. Yane. He disappeared in a puff of smoke. Shikamaru rose from the table. Naru, we should leave too. All right Shika, let's go. The two of them disappeared in a swirl of leaves. Yoshino looked at Shikaku. Our two little boys are growing up so quick, nay Shika-chan. That's right Yoshi-chan. Although they will face hardships later on, those two are the future of Konoha. With Kakashi and the others to guide them, the two of them will become a force to be reckoned with. Naruto and Shikamaru startled Iruka who was entering the classroom. The two of them, dead last and one above the dead last, were seated together in the back of the room with their heads down on the desks, appearing to be sleeping. But Iruka knew now to look underneath the underneath. He focused chakra to his eyes and saw that the two boys were conversing silently using Anbu sign language. Shika, I'm hungry. Why didn't you get ramen before? Q was sleeping so I didn't want any. TCH, that's troublesome. Wait it out. If Kakani is your sensei, then you have a good 2 hours before he comes to get you. Eat then. Thanks cousin. You're so smart. I'm just as smart as you are Yano. Whatever you say. After that the two Naras really did fall asleep. Iruka's sweat dropped. The two were using Anbu sign language to talk about food. I guess Naruto really is a Nara. After about 10 minutes, more kids began to trickle in. No one seemed to notice a blonde and a brunette in the back of the room sleeping. That is until of course Ino, Choji, and Kiba entered the room. They had been told what Naruto had done yesterday. The three of them knew of Naruto's fuzzy little problem and lineage since they were kids. It never bothered them, especially after Naruto summoned the fur ball a couple years ago and Ino had glomped him. The fox was quite passive, and he only helped Naruto. Ino saw their two friends. Hey guys, she whispered, Naruto's dropped the henge. He's not wearing that orange thing anymore either. The two boys looked at their sleeping friend. Indeed, he had ditched the orange jumpsuit and was now dressed like a true shinobi. He had on black shinobi pants and a long-sleeved navy blue shirt that had the Uzumaki spiral on the arm. The spiral showed the closeness of the Senju and Uzumaki. It made Naruto feel proud of his lineage. His pants had several pockets in them that helped things ranging from senbon to sealing scrolls. His kunai holster was wrapped around his left leg. All in all, he looked like a true shinobi. The trio walked up to them. Ino gently shook Naruto awake, while Choji did the same thing to Shikamaru. The Nara cousins awoke gradually to see the face of their three oldest friends. Naruto broke the silence. Yo Mina, ready to rock the ninja world? You bet Naruto, Choji said. By the way, why did you drop the henge now? Naruto sighed. Orders, my friend, orders. Shikamaru and I have to show our true powers albeit slowly. Sandame Gigi demands it from us. Speaking of which, Ino, are you going to stop acting like a Sasuke fangirl yet? Ino laughed. Of course Naruto, did you actually think that I would still pretend to like that gay emo after I became a kunoichi? I'm not Sakura. True, true. You are the only respectable kunoichi in our group. Sakura has no skills and Hinata, she has no backbone. You on the other hand, you're not afraid to speak your mind and you pack a mean punch. Naruto said. Ino smiled at her friend, thanks Naru, that meant a lot to me. Naruto grinned his foxy grin in return. So, do you know whose teams we are going to be on? Kiba asked. Shikamaru answered, no, not really. Naruto, after his escapade yesterday, voiced his opinions on the preordained teams and apparently they got switched around. Quote. Choji looked at Naruto in awe. Whoa, Naruto, you really did that? HMPHF, it was troublesome but yes. The three non-Naras sweat dropped. Naruto, you really are a Nara, aren't you? Ino commented. Of course I am. My name is Nara Naruto after all. This surprised the three non-Naras. Really? So you've taken the clan name and all? Kiba asked. While having my mother's family name is great, I really am a Nara, so yes. My name is Nara Naruto. At that moment Sakura walked in the room looking for her Sasuke-kun. When she couldn't find him, she looked for Ino. But she couldn't find her either. Why? Ino had done a simple genjutsu that let her blend in with the background. While the four boys tried to hold in their laughter, Sakura shrugged and sat down in an empty seat. Sasuke walked in a few minutes later with his duck butt hairstyle that almost all the girls seemed to love. The boys would never know why. All at once the girls started squealing, with the pink-haired one being the loudest. "Oh Sasuke-sama, please marry me. Sasuke-kun. Sasuke-kun. Give me your children. Sasuke-sama. Take me now." The last one disgusted many. They were only 12 for Kami's sake. Sasuke probably wasn't even fertile. Plus he was gay, so what was the point? Naruto and Shikamaru got identical evil grins on their faces. The two looked at each other and simultaneously whispered, "Kage main jutsu, success." Two shadows shot out of them and controlled the actions of Sasuke and Sakura. The two in question were moved forward by a seemingly unknown force cuff Shikamaru Naruto *. Sasuke and Sakura slammed into each other with their lips touching. A collective gasp was heard from the girls in the room. Sasuke was appalled at himself for doing something so disgusting. Sakura was on cloud 9 billion. Her Sasuke-kun had kissed her. No words could express what she was feeling. So she did what any respectable kunoichi did, she fainted. Iruka was watching all of this with an amused eye. He had seen the two Naras use their bloodline, and it was quite funny. Meanwhile, in the Hokage's office the Jonin instructors were cracking up. "Damn Kakashi, your cousins sure are diabolical, aren't they?" Guy asked. Kakashi wiped the tears out of his eye. You say something. No, curse you and your hip ways, Kakashi, my eternal rival. Iruka decided that enough was enough in his classroom. "Shut up," he roared using his big-headed jutsu. "Sensei, where is Mizuki-sensei?" asked a newly revived Sakura. Iruka cleared his throat uncomfortably. "Mizuki-sensei turned traitor to us and tried to steal the scroll of sealing." Another gasp was heard throughout the room. Mizuki-sensei was a traitor. "So where is he now?" asked a random kid. "He's dead," Iruka replied grimly. That stunned all the kids except for Ino, Shikamaru, Naruto, Kiba, and Choji. "Right. So let's get back on track, shall we?" Iruka said, sensing more questions. "It's time for your team placements. Team 1. These teams aren't important. Team 7. Haruno Sakura, Nara Shikamaru, and Nara Naruto. Your sensei will be Hatake Kakashi." Naruto and Shikamaru sat up straight. It was impossible. Family members were not allowed on the same team, so why were there 3 family members on the same team? Kakashi should have taken Sasuke because he was the only one who had the Shanringan in Konoha. Many people swiveled around in their seats as if seeing Naruto for the first time. They were shocked to see a very handsome man that looked like the Yondaime Hokage sitting in the back seat in a very relaxed position next to Shikamaru. Many people did double takes as they looked at him. True to Shikamaru's word, many Sasuke fangirls had lust in their eyes while looking at Naruto. Naruto gulped nervously and put his head down while Shikamaru guffawed at his cousin's predicament. Of course Sakura had to add her 2 cents. "Sensei, why is Naruto Baka on my team? How did he pass in the first place, and his name?" Sakura was furious that she had 2 dead lasts on her team. They were doomed to fail now. "Sakura," Iruka started patiently. "Naruto's test was messed up so he never failed. As for why he is on your team, the teams were decided by Sandaime-sama, not me. I was also surprised by this. And his name, you will have to ask him yourself." Sakura shot a glare at Naruto, who smiled pleasantly at her. Team 8. Uchiha Sasuke, Inuzuka Kiba, and Hyuga Hinata. Your sensei will be Yuhi Kurenai. Sasuke looked indifferent. He was happy that he didn't have fangirls on his team. Outside of her pitiful exterior, Hinata was fuming. How dare they don't put me with my Naruto-kun, they will all pay cha. Kiba on the other hand, was crying tears of pain while Ino comforted him. Why did he have to get stuck on a team which consisted of a boy incapable of saying 2 words, and a girl who no one could understand because of her enormous stutter? Meanwhile in her seat in heaven, Cammy was cackling madly at the predicament of the poor boy. A gust of wind flew around her, making her hair wild. She looked like Medusa when she was PM Sing. Her subordinates slowly inched away from her, hoping that she would calm down or else the second coming of the Kyuubi would happen. Team 9. Aburame Shino, Yamanaka Ino, Akamichi Choji. Your sensei is Sarutobi Asuma. The 3 of them looked at each other and gave silent nods of approval. Naruto decided that some matters had to be put to rest. Excuse me, Iruka-sensei. The entire class turned to face him. If I'm not mistaken, family members are not allowed to be on the same team, so why are myself and Shikamaru, who are cousins, on it? Plus Kakashi. Oi, Naruto, don't complain. At least you have 2 people on the team who love you. Kyuubi decided that he had to be heard. That's true, Ni-chan, I shouldn't complain. Naruto, I can't answer that question. You have to ask the Hokage. Naruto nodded. Well then, wait for your senseis who should be there shortly. Iruka concluded. Asuma and Kurenai entered the classroom. Kakashi was nowhere to be found. The 2 elite Jonins turned to look at their 2 favorite genins. Yo Naru-chan, Shika-chan, I'm sure both of you are surprised by the teams this year. Dad said that you would be, Asuma said. That's right, Asuma Ni-chan. Gigi really did surprise us, didn't he, Shika? Shikamaru nodded. The entire class was confused at the confrontation. How did Naruto and Shikamaru know this world-renowned elite Jonin? Of course some idiot just had to ask that. Kurenai responded. Naru and Shika are like our baby brothers, we have been taking care of them since before they were born. Nay, Ototos. TCH, troublesome. The both of them replied and looked away in embarrassment. Asuma and Kurenai chuckled. The entire class was very confused at that moment. Team 10, you're with me. And Team 8, come with me. Naruto and Shikamaru wished their friends luck. Soon, it was only Sakura, Naruto, and Shikamaru left in the room. Sakura was off in her own little world while Naruto and Shikamaru were playing an intense game of shogi. Check Shika. Not yet Naru. Haha, I blocked your check. Damn, okay, if I move my knight there then. After about 2 hours, Sakura was getting frustrated. Gah, where the hell is our sensei? What idiot can be 2 hours late to a meeting? And you 2 idiots, how can you play shogi for that long without someone winning? It just shows how retarded you are. Naruto and Shikamaru sensed Kakashi hovering outside of the door. They would take people talking crap about themselves, but not their family. Haruno-san, there is a reason that Kakashi-sensei is a Jonin. I'm sure he has a good reason to be late. Or perhaps you would like to test his worth as a Jonin. Shikamaru asked the Banshee in a deceptively calm voice. As if on cue, Kakashi walked in the room with his usual eye smile. Yo, sorry I'm late, I got lost on the road of life. Sakura turned to Shikamaru and Naruto to ask them if that was a good reason, but to her surprise, the 2 Naras were accepting his excuse. It was like they had heard it so many times that they were used to it. You are absolutely right, Kakashi-sensei. I myself took a wrong turn on that road with Shikamaru and we somehow ended up in the forest of death. Odd, isn't it? Naruto said. Shikamaru and Kakashi nodded their consent. Sakura stared at the 3 men in disbelief. It was official. Her team was retarded, and her precious Sasuke-kun couldn't save her now. But of course Sasuke-kun was hers now. Are all three of you insane? She exclaimed. How can anyone get lost on the road of life? What the hell is it anyway? Naruto stared at the pink-haired girl for many minutes. Haruno-san, the road of life is the very road of our lives. It is the road that you and I walk on every day. We get lost on it fairly often. And yes, we are insane. Being ninjas automatically makes us so. Naruto told her. It was then that Sakura really got a look at Naruto. He looked hot and more mature. A dark blush rose upon her face. Naruto, why don't you call me Sakura-chan anymore? I thought we were friends. Naruto scoffed. Friends? Haruno-san, are we friends? As I recall, you would bash my head against the nearest wall every time I opened my mouth. Tell me, in what way, shape, or form does that make us friends? And as to why I call you Haruno-san, it's because I will call my precious people by their first names. I do not know you Haruno-san. In the past when I called you Sakura-chan, it was simply to rile you up. Now that we are shinobi and teammates, that useless banter can stop. You may call me whatever you would like as long as it is respectful. I will only call you Haruno-san as will my cousin. He said gesturing to Shikamaru. Haruno-san, can I ask you a question? Naruto inquired. She nodded her head. Why did you become a ninja? For what purpose? Sakura opened her mouth to speak but quickly closed it. What was she supposed to say? She became a ninja for Sasuke's sake. Naruto and Shikamaru exchanged glances with Kakashi. Shikamaru sighed and said, Haruno-san, if you became a ninja for the sake of a person, more specifically a boy, then please give up being a ninja. This is not a game. We know that you come from a civilian family, but the rest of us do not. Our family members have died, some right before our eyes. All of us in this room have experienced death in this room, but you have not. A ninja's life is difficult. The maximum age for an average ninja is 35. Some die younger and some die older. The three of us have come to the conclusion that you are not fit to be a ninja at this current moment. You are too thin, and you are on a diet. This is extremely harmful to the body. Please consider our words and change your ways, or they will be the death of you. Sakura was close to tears at the moment. How could they have come to that conclusion without talking? Who the hell were these two dead lasts, to lecture her on being a shinobi? She was the number one kunoichi of the year for Kami's sake. They were at the bottom of the class. Who are you to tell me anything? You are just losers who are wannabe shinobis. I am the top kunoichi of the year. Even Ino Pig can't compare to me. Naruto looked at her with unrestrained contempt that made Sakura cringe. Haruno-san, rank means nothing. The only thing you know have is book smarts. And what exactly will you do with those? Bore your opponent to death with useless facts. In any physical exercise, you ranked at the bottom of the list. And Ino-chan was told, as were we by our family, not to stand out too much. Even her crush on Sasuke was fake in case you haven't noticed. Being Rookie of the Year or Kunoichi of the Year draws attention to yourself, and not the good kind. When you are ranked at the bottom of the class, nobody will care who you are because you are the supposed dead last. A ninja's greatest tool is deception, something Ino, myself, and Shikamaru have utilized to our full potential. Because of your previous actions and comments, myself and my cousin can only consider you a comrade, nothing more and nothing less. To gain our respect, you must work for it. Respect is not given, it is earned, even if you are the Hokage himself. Haruno-san, the two boys are right. I looked over your file and the only thing you rank top in is tests. Anything else, and you are considered the dead last while these boys are top ranked. They are correct. Rank is only for show. The true test begins now. Meet me on the roof in 5 minutes. Kakashi disappeared in a poof of smoke. Sakura was in turmoil. Even her sensei had told her off. And Ino. Ino never loved Sasuke-kun. That meant that there was one less person vying for his affections. He was all hers now. Her mind went back to what the three men said. She was useless in anything but book smarts. She would have to reconsider everything. When she looked up, her two teammates were gone. She dashed off to the roof, hoping her sensei didn't hold it against her if she was late. When she arrived, she had a minute to spare. She sighed in relief and took a seat as far away from the three as possible. Kakashi gave her a grim smile. Haruno-san, as I was telling the boys here, I want you to introduce yourself to the team. State your likes and dislikes as well. Sakura said, Sensei, you are the unknown person here. I am sure that neither of those two know you very well. So please go first. Oh, how very wrong she was. Kakashi sighed. Very well, my name is Hitaki Kakashi. My dislikes are my own and my likes, you are too young to hear that. Naruto made a coughing sound that sounded very similar to Anko, and Kakashi was grateful that his mask was in place or he would have looked like a blushing girl. You next, Pinky. Sakura growled at her nickname. My name is Haruno Sakura. I like reading and adding on to a certain collection of mine. My dream is to become a certain man's wife, his name I will not say. I dislike those who look down on me and Ino Pig. She ended her rant with a fangirlish squeal. The men's sweat dropped at this. If it was not obvious that Sakura was a fangirl, it was now. She had just insulted all three of them, and they were hating her more by the minute. Kakashi nodded. You next, Shikamaru. TCH, troublesome. My name is Nara Shikamaru. I like my family, tending to the deer, cloud gazing, friends, and surprisingly training. I dislike fangirls and anyone who disrespects my family. He gave a small glare to Sakura. Naruto, you next. Hi, my name is Nara Naruto. I concur with everything Shika said. Kakashi gave a small eye smile. Well, the three of you should know that the real Genin test will begin tomorrow at 6 o'clock sharp. What you took today was simply a practice one. Out of the 24 graduates, only 9 will become Genin. You only have a 66.66% chance of passing. I suggest you don't eat anything or else you will throw up. Yane. He disappeared in a swirl of leaves this time. Sakura was horrified. She had done all that work for nothing. She looked at her two teammates, and to her surprise, they didn't look moved in the least bit. Why aren't you guys scared? We might not pass. Shikamaru said, Haruno-san, we come from a ninja family. We knew about this before. I believe that it is also written in one of the ninja textbooks as well. With that, he and Naruto vanished in a swirl of leaves as well. Sakura stood on the roof in shock for a couple minutes. The Shushin was a Jonin-level technique that was not taught until one was a Chunin. How did the two dobes of the class know it? She ran all the way back to her home and cried for the rest of the day, not even looking at her Sasuke shrine once. That night, Kakashi was strolling down the streets of Konoha, pleased by the warm breeze that propelled the delicious scents towards him. He suddenly turned around when a familiar smell assaulted his nose. It smelled like dango, flowers, and snake residue. Anko. Kakashi breathed. She looked stunning, according to him. She ditched her usual fishnet shirt and trench coat for a casual civilian dress that revealed all her curves. In all of his 25 years, he had never met a woman as beautiful as Mitarashi Anko. Hopefully one day she would become Hitaki Anko. He loved her, there was no denying it. The question was, did she love him? Konbanwa, Kaka-kun, Anko said cheerfully. She loved the nightlife in Konoha. The villagers had gone inside, and only shinobi remained. No wonder she was happy. Being with Kakashi only deepened that feeling. Kakashi cleared his throat nervously. He could read all the smut in the world, but he couldn't make 2 words in front of the woman he loved. What a failure. So Anko, what brings you out here tonight? Anko beamed at him. I was just taking a walk and I saw you. What say you and I go to the bar and have a drink or two? She raised her hands above her head and stretched. In doing so, Kakashi got a good look at her long, creamy legs. An unfamiliar sensation assaulted his nether regions. Anko grabbed Kakashi's hand and sprinted down the street. They were very close to the bar when Kakashi felt like he was about to explode, so he grabbed her around the waist and shushed them to her apartment. Kaka, what's going on with you? Anko asked worriedly. Kakashi was looking very worn at the moment. Hey, are you okay? Do you want anything? Kakashi looked at her for a couple of minutes. She squirmed under his one-eyed gaze. What I want, he growled, as you. With that being said, he pinned her against the wall, pulled down his mask, and stared at her again. She was mesmerized by his face. Aside from the scar running down his left eye, he was flawless. His angled face was just over her own. His lips were hovering inches from hers, and he looked primal, wolf-like almost. It turned her on. His eyes, even his Sharingan eye, were darkened with lust. Anko was slightly frightened by this Kakashi. Kakashi, what's going on? Anko asked again. Anko, what could Kakashi tell her? That he loved her and wanted to take her on the wall at that very moment. Hey, Kaka, talk to me. She said, stroking his face gently. Kakashi leaned into his touch, and that's when Anko smelled it. That was lust that was coming off of Kakashi. He wanted her. Kakashi pushed off the wall and turned away from her, unable to look at his face. He was about to brutally take the woman that he loved without her consent. He was a monster. Anko gently turned him around so he would look at her. She gave him a small peck on the cheek that made a raging fire burn in his belly. Tell me, Kaka, please. At her urging, Kakashi bent his head to look at Anko. She was stunningly beautiful, that innocent expression made it more so. He couldn't take it anymore. Once again he pinned her against the wall. His mouth latched on against hers in a frenzy, his tongue gently coaxing her mouth open. Anko was in turmoil. This unfamiliar feeling was spreading throughout her, pooling together in her core, and she felt like she would lose control at any minute. She parted her mouth slightly and his tongue and hers were locked in a battle for dominance. She could not let that happen. She was Mitarashi Anko, for crying out loud. No man was allowed to create a pile of mush out of her. Anko, he began, I'm sorry, I don't know what happened to me. I understand if you would like me to leave for taking advantage of you. Do you honestly think that you can leave after that, Kaka-kun? Anko asked sultrily. What? He stammered. He wanted her so bad, and now maybe he would get his chance. But when Anko got that glint in her eye, something or someone was going to get hurt. And he had a sinking feeling that that someone was him. I feel so hot right now. And you are the one who made me feel this way. Quickly, she grabbed his hand and led him inside her bedroom door. The two stared at each other for a couple minutes. Kakashi, aren't you going to do something? I thought you were first. Anko sighed and sat down on her bed. We're hopeless, aren't we? He looked at her quizzically. We both want this, but we are just too afraid to start anything that might change our friendship. Kakashi also sighed and flopped down on the bed. Anko, to tell you the truth, I've wanted this for a long time. I don't know how much longer I can wait. I just need to know if you are ready. Repercussions be damned. How long is a long time? Since a boy could start having dreams. That is a long time. Indeed it is. Kakashi started to get up from the bed thinking it was hopeless, but was stopped by Anko's foot on his chest. Kaka, like I said before, we both want this, and no one is leaving until either one of us gets it. Do you understand? She asked forcefully. Kakashi grinned a very Naruto-like grin before he tackled her to the bed, kissing her. Nara household, day of Kakashi's test. It was roughly 7 o'clock in the morning when both the boys woke up. Their cousin hadn't bothered coming home last night, so they ate breakfast in relative peace, just the two of them and the myriad of birds chirping happily outside. Shika, do you think Kaka-ni will give us the infamous bell test? I don't know, Naru. It's obvious that he will test our teamwork somehow, but we know him too well for him to give us the bell test. That's true. Do you think we should leave now? Sakura will most likely be waiting at the training field. Kaka-ni did tell her to come at 6 am sharp. She probably didn't eat breakfast either, the stupid girl. A smart ninja will go to the battlefield well fed and watered. The one who wants to die wouldn't. Oi, Shika, let's just go to the training field and watch the clouds. Field 7 has the nicest view of the sky. Shikamaru, never one to pass on an opportunity to watch the clouds, willingly left with Naruto. As they arrived at training ground 7, they noticed a pink-haired banshee fly their way with her fist raised high. Naruto and Shikamaru lazily sidestepped her attempted punch, which caused her to get even madder. You idiots are late, plus you won't stand still to let me punch you. Shikamaru and Naruto both sighed. They would have to beat it into the pink-haired banshee, just who was the idiot here. Haruno-san, how are we late when sensei hasn't arrived yet? Shikamaru asked. Furthermore, do you really expect an opponent to stand still as you assault him? No. So why should we? Just because you are our teammate does not mean that you can do whatever you please to us. Naruto added. Both he and Shikamaru plopped down on the ground and began their cloud gazing while talking to each other about menial things. Sakura's wrist fell limply to her side. It was at this moment that she realized that Naruto would no longer be her punching bag. Naruto asking her for dates in the academy had been a great source of confidence, and now that confidence was gone. What was she to do? Kakashi arrived 2 hours later at 9 o'clock. Yo, sorry I was late. I woke up in the wrong bed this morning and it took me some time to return home. Liar. The pink-haired demon screeched. Kakashi was glowing. He had the best night of his life and was waiting for the continuation of it tonight. Pages 15 to 20 were covered from the first volume. Now it was time to try out the big boy stuff. His great uncle was a genius. Naruto looked at Shikamaru. Somehow I don't think that was an excuse. Shikamaru looked like he was going to be sick. Naruto looked slightly green himself. Okay team, time for your test. Shikamaru and Naruto waited eagerly while Sakura was apprehensive. Their teacher was crazy, that was for sure. What tests could he possibly give them? Kakashi dangled 2 bells in front of them and pulled out a timer. Shikamaru and Naruto sighed in disappointment. Same old, same old. You have till noon to get the bells from me. The person who doesn't will have to be sent back to the academy. Do you understand? Kakashi looked pointedly at Sakura, who gulped. Mendokus. Shikamaru said. Kakashi looked at his cousin with humor in his eyes. Nani, Shika-chan, do you have something today? Shikamaru grimaced at his nickname. TCH, we know what this test is really about, Kakashi-sensei. Oh, said Kakashi with fake thought. And what would that be? Teamwork. Naruto replied. You only have 2 bells, which means that we would be pitted against each other. It would never occur to any of us that you are a Jonin and we are Genin, so we could never take you by ourselves. Kakashi looked at each of them with a critical eye. Congratulations. You pass. Kakashi exclaimed with mock happiness. Sakura looked confused but was relieved that she had passed even though she didn't do anything. Shikamaru and Naruto both mumbled, troublesome, and plopped down on the grass again. This time Kakashi joined them. The 3 cousins gazed at the clouds with Sakura watched them with increasing rage. What the hell are you lazy asses doing watching the clouds? Why can't you do anything productive with your day? Kakashi got up to brush the dirt off of his Jonin vest. Haruno-san, I was observing the team yesterday after yesterday's meeting. You went home for 2 hours doing God knows what, then went off to chase Uchiha Sasuke. Is that what you call productive? These two here were training in their family's dojo after the meeting. Although you are from a civilian family, it was your choice to become a ninja. Either act like one or leave this team now. Shikamaru and Naruto were both proud of their cousin for making the pink-haired one look like an absolute moron. Kakashi never really observed Sakura, he was simply guessing. But the look on her face told all. It was true. Sakura tried to make a futile comeback. Well, Naruto isn't from a ninja clan either. All three of them looked at her like she was stupid. Haruno-san, my name is Naruto. I am from a ninja clan. My entire family are ninja. I am Shikamaru's biological cousin. I have the Nara bloodline as well. You asked about my name yesterday. Uzumaki was my mother's last name. Nara is my father's, even if he didn't take the name. My father was Shikamaru's dad's brother. I have many more relations, but do not wish to tell you any. Good day, Haruno-san. With that, Naruto and Shikamaru left. Kakashi gave Sakura a frightening look. Get your facts straight before you say something. Think before you act. And also, start training. You need to more than the others. Your physical conditioning is weak, and is disgraceful to kunoichi everywhere. Kakashi left in a swirl of leaves. Sakura was left in the field dumbfounded as to what had happened. Naruto and Shikamaru found Kakashi at the ramen stall. Yo. He raised his hand lazily. Okay. Ni-chan. Why did you give us the bell test? We knew about that so long ago. Shikamaru asked. To tell you the truth, it would have been too troublesome to give you another test. Kakashi replied. Naruto and Shikamaru's sweat dropped at that response. So that's what we sound like when we say troublesome. Understandable, but what about that excuse this morning? Naruto asked. Kakashi blushed. How could he tell his kawaii pure cousins that he had done sinful acts with a sexy kunoichi named Mitarashi Anko? You say something. And with that he disappeared in a puff of smoke. Anko. It was more a statement than a question. Anko. Shikamaru agreed definitively. Tsuki broke them out of their thoughts. Yo boys, what will it be today? 2 bowls miso ramen please old man. Naruto said. 1 bowl of beef ramen for me. Shikamaru said. After they had finished their meal, the cousins took a stroll through town where Naruto was attracting attention from the civilians that he hadn't gotten before. The civilians were doing double takes as they wondered why the Yondaime Hokage was back in his chibi form. The girls had hearts in their eyes for the 2 boys. Yo Naruto. Nani? Kuni. I'm bored. Too bad. Entertain me. Hell no. Hey, it was worth a try at least. Anyway, we have to get your training with Kitsune Ken started. Tell Shikamaru that he will be learning this as well. Will do boss. When will training begin? 2 weeks from now. Alright Ni-chan. Go to sleep now. Will do kiddo. Oi, Shika. Yeah Naru. The both of us are going to be learning Kitsune Ken from Kuni in 2 weeks. It will help us tremendously in the future. Is that alright? It's troublesome, but if he says it's necessary then yes, I'll do it. Great. Now let's go home. Yoshino Ba-chan made our favorite dinner tonight. Naruto, it's only 10:30 in the morning. Is it now? Well oops. Yush let's go train. TCH, sometimes he's a Nara and sometimes he's an Uzumaki. Naruto you are one troublesome cousin.